Welcome! This is your ultimate revision guide for fitness testing in GCSE PE. We are going to break down absolutely everything you need to know for your exam, from the key tests themselves to, how you actually evaluate them.
So let's just start with a big question. How does an athlete really know they're improving? How do they track that journey from being good to being great? Is it just a feeling, or is there a more scientific way to go about it?
Well, you guessed it, they don't leave it to chance. The pros use hard, objective data from fitness tests to measure their performance and, crucially, to figure out how to improve it. They basically turn their ambition into a science.
Okay, so that brings us to the why. Why is fitness testing such a massive part of any serious training program? Why do coaches and athletes spend so much time on this stuff?
Right, let's dive in. Fitness testing gives you a clear starting line. It helps you pinpoint your strengths, the things to build on, and, just as importantly, your weaknesses, the areas that need work. It's also fantastic for tracking your progress over time, keeping you motivated with really clear goals, and, well, at the end of the day, it tells you if your training is actually working.
First up, let's talk about cardiovascular fitness. The best way to think about this is as your body's engine. We're testing how well your heart and lungs supply oxygen to your muscles during exercise that lasts a while. It is absolutely vital for any endurance sport.
Now, a classic test for this is the Cooper 12-minute run. And another one you 100% need to know is the multi-stage fitness test. Yep, the BLEEP test. Both of these are designed to push your aerobic endurance right to its limit.
For the Cooper run, the protocol is pretty simple. You just go as far as you possibly can in 12 minutes. The big advantage here is that it needs minimal equipment, really just a track and a stopwatch. The downside? It really depends on you being able to pace yourself correctly, and trust me, that can be pretty tricky.
This test is a really direct measure of your body's ability to keep going over time. It's a key part of fitness for, say, a long-distance swimmer, a marathon runner, or even a midfielder who's still got to be pushing hard in the 90th minute of a match.
Okay, so let's move on. We've talked about the body's overall engine, but what about how long specific muscle groups can keep working before they get tired? Now we're talking about muscular endurance. To measure this, we often use the good old 1-minute sit-up and press-up tests. Now, think about an exam question for a second. Imagine an athlete named Karen is training for a big cycle race. These tests would be great for measuring her core and upper body endurance, right? But would they really test the specific muscular endurance she needs in her legs for cycling? Probably not. It's a good thing to keep in mind.
So the protocol is dead simple. You perform as many correct sit-ups or press-ups as you can in just 1 minute. That final number is your score, and it's a brilliant way to track improvements in local muscle stamina. The huge advantage is they're simple and need no equipment. The disadvantage? You have to have really strict form or the score just isn't reliable.
All right, next up, we're measuring pure force, or strength. That's the maximum force a muscle can produce in one single effort. So how do we test that safely and effectively?
A really common method, and one you'll definitely see for your GCSE, is the hand grip dynamometer test. It sounds a bit technical, but it's just a practical way to measure the static strength of your forearm and your grip.
For this test, it's really important to keep your arms straight and out in front of you. You're going to squeeze as hard as you can, check the reading, and then you do that 3 times to find your best score. The main advantages are that it's super quick, it's safe, and it's really easy to do.
So here we can see 2 different ways to test strength side by side. The dynamometer is great because it's so simple, but its big disadvantage is that it only measures forearm strength. If you want to measure true maximal strength, like a weightlifter's bench press, then the 1-rep max test is the gold standard, but of course that needs way more equipment and a spotter for safety.
You know, being a great athlete isn't just about endurance and strength. PE requires a whole range of movement skills. These are the components that make an athlete agile, fast, and powerful. So let's take a look at how we test those. This table is a great little overview. For pure speed and acceleration, we use the 30-meter sprint. For explosive leg power, crucial for a basketball player, we've got the vertical jump. The Illinois Agility Test checks how quickly you can change direction, which is vital for a rugby player. Then for flexibility, we use the sit and reach. And for balance, the Stark test. Oh, and you've also got coordination, which we can measure with something like the wall toss test. Let's just focus on the vertical jump test for a second. It's not just about how high you can jump. It's a really precise measurement of power. You mark your standing reach, then you jump and mark your highest point. And the difference between the two, that's your score.
This is absolutely essential for sports like basketball, volleyball, or the high jump.
Okay, so you've done all the tests, you've written down your scores, but what do those numbers actually mean? And, just as importantly for your exam, what don't they tell you? It's time to read the fine print.
This is such a critical evaluation point for you to make. And the simple answer is no. No way. No single test is perfect. For your evaluation, you really need to think about two massive ideas: validity and reliability. So is the test valid? Does a 30-meter sprint really measure a footballer's speed during a match when they've got a ball at their feet? And is it reliable? Like, if you did the test again tomorrow under the exact same conditions, would you get the same result? Things like your motivation, how tired you are, even the weather can mess with reliability.
And this is exactly why you can't just look at your score by itself. You have to compare it against what's called normative data. These are basically huge tables of scores that show you how you stack up against loads of other people of a similar age and gender. It puts your score into context. Are you average, above average, or is this an area you need to work on? It turns a simple number into really meaningful information.
And that really just sums the whole thing up, doesn't it? Despite all their limitations, fitness tests are an absolutely essential tool. They provide the roadmap that guides any serious athlete or training program towards success. So there we have it. We've covered the why, the how, and the so what of fitness testing. We've seen how to measure everything from your body's engine to your agility, and we've talked about how to critically evaluate those results. The only question left is, where are you going to begin?